Today we are diving into the world of creating seamless floral patterns in Procreate. We'll be creating a handy template called an Ogee template to build a beautiful floral repeating design. Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Mel Armstrong, an illustrator and surface pattern designer based in Wellington, New Zealand. To create our floral pattern today, we're going to begin with creating the Ogee template. We'll then transform the template into a reusable stamp brush. We'll then sketch out a floral arrangement within the bounds of the Ogee template, and then we will bring it all together with colour before creating a seamless repeating tile that is ready for any project. So grab your iPad and your Apple app and let's get into it. Okay, the first thing we need to do is create a new canvas. So I'm going to click on the plus sign here and I'm going to do a 3000 by 3000 pixel pattern tile. You can create your own here by clicking on the plus here and typing in 3000 by 3000 pixels, and the DPI I normally do at 300. And if you want to save that, you can put in a name for it by typing over this. You could put in pattern tile. Oops. And then create, but I'm going to cancel that because I already have one set up here and I'm going to use that. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is create the shape of our template, which will help guide us to create our pattern. To do that, I'm going to use a dark color. I've just got a dark black here selected, and I'm going to use the monoline brush, which you will find in the calligraphy brush library here. And then all I need to do is create a circle. Holding it down without letting go, you'll see it will snap. And then if you tap with your other finger, it will create a perfect circle. And then we want to reduce the size of it to 1/4 of the size of the canvas. So if I select the move tool here and then make sure that snapping and magnetics is on, and then if we drag it to the bottom corner here so that it's aligned with the two sides, and then reduce the size of it by just dragging those blue nodules, and it should snap and you'll see two orange lines. And you can also check here the width and the height is 1500 pixels. And then we want to just drag that into the center. So if I drag it up till it snaps halfway and then drag it to the right till it snaps halfway. And then we just want to cut that in half. So to help me with that, I'm going to turn on the canvas drawing guide here. So if you go into actions, then canvas drawing guide, then select edit drawing guide, and then go to the symmetry option and then select the options and turn on quadrant. And now it's broken it up into 4 quadrants. It's just going to help me to guide where I select, and then click done. And then grab the selection tool and then make sure rectangle is selected, and then just click and drag from the halfway mark there and across half of that circle, and then 3 fingers to swipe down, cut and paste. And then if we have a look at our layers here, we've now got 2 half circles. Now we want to chop 1 half into half again. So once again, I'm going to select the selection tool and once again, just select 1/4 this time. And then swipe down, cut and paste. And now we have 3 pieces. Now we want to drag the 2/4 pieces to the top and the bottom. So I'm going to drag the top one to the bottom by just selecting it and then moving it down until it snaps at the bottom, and then move the other one to the top like that. And then we want to just align these little pieces here that are a little bit misaligned, and I'm going to do that by selecting the half circle here. And then I'm going to turn off the magnetics and the snapping, and just drag it down until it meets the other one, and then just drag the other one up. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. Remember, this is just a guide. And then we want to merge these together, so we can select the top one and the bottom one and just pinch and they will merge together. And then we want to move it to the left-hand side. So I'm going to turn the snapping back on for that, and then just drag it to the left-hand side. We now want to duplicate that. So just in the Layers panel, swipe it to the left and select Duplicate. And then select that, flip it horizontally, and then move it across to the other side. And then we just want to merge those together. So now we have our Ogee pattern template. What we can do now is save that as a stamp brush. So if I go into my brush library called Pattern Combo, I have a selection of templates that I use. They're all brush stamps. I use them as guides for a lot of my patterns. So we are creating this one here, the Ogee one. So to create a brush stamp like that, simply 3 fingers to swipe down and then select Copy All. And then if we go up to the brush library and select the plus, then go to Shape, Edit, Import, Paste, and then we need to invert that. So just 2 fingers to tap, to invert it, and then click Done. The other thing we need to do is increase the stroke path. So go to Stroke Path and then increase the spacing all the way up to max. And then go to Properties, turn on the Stamp Preview, and then change the maximum size. Now you'll have to play around with this until you get the best one. So get it to a big size, then hit Done, and we'll just create another layer here, turn that one off, and just see what happens when we paste that in. And that's okay, we might want to go a little bit bigger. So if I just go back into my brush library, click on the brush, and then just go a little bit bigger. I also want to just decrease the preview size. The preview size is what you see in there, so that's perfect. Now we can see the shape, and that'll be handy for when we select the brush. And let's just test that out again. There we go. That looks pretty good. So when we go to use it, let me just create another one there and turn off the canvas drawing guide. If we stamp it in, select it, and then fit to canvas, you've got it there all ready to go. You could then reduce the opacity so that it's just barely there for you to use as a guide. Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of the original one now. We'll keep that one as a guide. I'm going to lock that one, so swipe it to the left and then lock it. Let's create another layer and put it at the bottom. And this time I'm going to select a pencil brush. I'm just using the 6B pencil, and I'm going to sketch out a floral arrangement. And I think I'm going to use the symmetry tool for this. So go into the Actions, Canvas, Drawing Guide again, Edit Drawing Guide, make sure symmetry is on, and then change the option to vertical. And so now when I use this, make sure that layer has the Drawing Assist turned on. When I draw, it will match on the other side and create a symmetrical drawing. So I'm going to start sketching. You can follow along with me, or you can create your own. I'm just going to create a very simple floral arrangement. Might add some leaves. Just keep it inside the template. I'm going to add some berries. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now before I go on to colour it, I do want to make sure that it does look good when it repeats. So to do that, I'm just going to turn off our template, and I'm going to create a duplicate, and then I'm going to just draw some little marks in the top right and top left, bottom left, and it's got the symmetry on, so it's put them in all 4, but that's fine. This is just going to help us for when we move it, and I'm going to create 3 more copies of that. And I'm going to drag each one into the quadrant. So let's take this one up into the top left. Make sure that snapping is on so that you get it snapped into those corners. Let's do the top right. Make sure you can see the two orange lines before you let go, and then again, that way you know that it's in the right place. And then let's do the next layer down and go to the bottom left. And then the last layer here, let's go to the bottom right. Okay, let's turn off that original layer, merge those new 4 ones together and just remove the marks in the middle. And then turn that back on. And now you can see that that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. There's nothing touching that I don't want touching. If you needed to, this would be the point where you go back and make some adjustments, but I'm happy to go ahead and color this. So I'm just going to get rid of those outside edge ones and just concentrate on the inside one, and I'm only going to use a very limited color palette which you can download in the description. I'll leave the link in the description for you. And I'm just going to use my monoline brush for most of this. I also want to make sure that symmetry is turned on, so I should just be able to do that by hitting the drawing assist on the layer. You'll have to do this every time you create a new layer. And I'm also going to turn down the opacity of the sketch layer and change the blending mode to multiply, and that just allows my colors to come through as I'm sketching, as I'm drawing the colors in. And then let's start with the first color. And then to colour in those gaps, I just drag in a colour, click on continue filling, and then tap in those other areas. It's a really quick way to colour in multiple areas. And then for another colour, I like to do it on a new layer. Make sure that drawing assist is on. I'm just going to turn off the sketch layer now, and I'm going to add a few details to the leaves and the flowers. I'm going to use a clipping mask on top of the berries and then a lighter colour just to do some little highlights. Just forgot to put the drawing assist on again. And then I might do some details on the leaves. So I'm going to create another layer and clip that to the leaves. This time I'm going to select the same colour but change the blending mode to multiply, and this will darken the detail. I'm also going to use the 6P pencil for a bit of texture. And once again, I need to turn on the drawing assist. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the purple flowers. So create another layer, clip that to the layer, and then select that purple colour. And making sure our drawing assist is on again. And making sure that is in multiply. Okay, I am happy with that. Okay, now we're ready to test our pattern and create our repeating tile. So I have grouped all my layers into one single group, and I'm going to turn the background layer off, and then I'm going to use 3 fingers to swipe down and copy all, and then 3 fingers to swipe down and then select paste. And this has pasted a merged layer, and we can turn the background layer on here. I'm going to then paint a mark in the top right hand corner and the bottom left, and this just helps as a guide when we have to move our floral arrangement around. It keeps it all in a nice square. So let's create 3 more copies of that, and then grab the first one, and we're going to make sure snapping is on and magnetics, drag it to the top until it snaps. You'll see the orange lines, and then drag it to the left until it snaps, and once again you'll see the orange lines. Then let's do that with the second layer, and that one's going to go into the top right hand corner. And then the bottom left hand corner. And then the last one to the bottom right. And then we can merge those layers together just by pinching them, and then we need to remove the marks in the middle. And then if we turn that middle layer back on, you can see now that it's created a repeating tile, and we can test this further by creating an even smaller scale. So once again, I'm going to turn off the background layer, use 3 fingers to swipe down, copy all, and then 3 fingers and then paste. So now if we turn off those 2 layers, you can see it's created, let's just turn on the background, it's created one flattened layer there, so we can create some duplicates of that. And then this time we just want to reduce the size of them to the 4 quadrants, so 1500, and then it will snap into that position. Or you can grab it and just drag it down until it snaps, whichever way you find easier. So we just want one in each of the 4 corners. And now you can see it has repeated really lovely, and this would make a really lovely wallpaper. So I'm going to merge those 4 layers together, and then I'm just going to turn that top layer off and turn on the bottom layers. I might just move this merged one down into the group. And so now we've got the original tile and we've got the smaller scale tile. Both are repeating patterns. And the next thing you can do is to export that out so that you can save it for whatever use you want to do with it. So to do that, just go to Actions and then Share, and then you've got the choice here to export it as a JPEG or a PNG or a TIFF. If you liked creating this pattern, I suggest you try out this tutorial here, which uses a slightly different template guide to produce a gorgeous floral pattern as well. And don't forget to like and subscribe to be notified of any new tutorials I put out in the future. Till next time, see ya.